Hi, I'm Bob Henderson. I'm the Nomad Dad. I'm a baby boomer, and I'm here on this video to apologize for my generation, the baby boomers. I am most appalled at us boomers. There are 80 million of us at the peak. Not all of them are bad, but as a generation, we've really fallen short. I think we have had the golden age in America. Maybe one thing earlier in our lives, the Vietnam War, that senseless, ridiculous war, where 50,000 American boys were killed. That was a problem. But other than that, we've had it pretty good, and we have messed it up. The cohort is born between 1946 and 64. I'm right in the middle. The boomers adjectives are things like, narcissistic, self-absorbed, cocksure. Those are just the nice ones. But there's a military term called FUBAR. It's an acronym for bleep up beyond all recognition. I'm going to be pleasant. I'm going to be a little bit more civil and call it MUBAR, messed up beyond all recognition. I think that's what the boomers have done to society. Hear me out now. I think we've morally and financially bankrupted this society. We have been the generation that has lived it up, and what are we passing on to our kids and grandchildren? Certainly not what we inherited, and it's not a good story. I apologize on behalf of the baby boomers. So let's talk about how we bankrupted the country morally and financially. I'm going to go back to the 90s. By the way, we have elected 4 boomer presidents, and the first one, Bill Clinton, epitomized the excesses of the boomers. Now, I don't want to talk about his impeachment. You might be for it. You might think it was ridiculous. I mean, whatever you think, that's not the point. But I remember during that period in the late 1990s, and I'm sitting there with my son, now the Nomad Capitalist, and we're watching cable television, and I'm hearing night after night his defenders say, quote, "Character doesn't matter." And I turned to Andrew and I said, "Andrew, the only thing that matters when it's all said and done is character." I mean, I asked these people, would you want to be in business with someone who didn't think character mattered? Would you want to have a personal relationship, especially a romantic relationship, with somebody who didn't think character mattered? I mean, you got to trust these people, right? This is ridiculous to say character doesn't matter. That's my opinion. So that happened in the 90s. And so this happened night after night in the late 1990s. And 3 or 4 years later, I think corporate America got the memo. We had the biggest corporate scandal in history about 20 years ago. Remember Enron? We had to rewrite all the corporate laws to guard against the next Enron. So corporations got the memo. And then 3 years after that, I think the average person on the street finally got the memo that character doesn't matter. They started applying for mortgages for homes they probably knew they couldn't afford. The no-doc loans, and then what they called the liar loans, where you could overstate your income and your net worth, and they'd get the mortgage, and shame on the people that gave it to them. But, what could possibly go wrong? Well, what went wrong was the housing market crashed, and we had the great financial crisis, 2006 to 2008, and we still haven't fixed the problem. We just kicked the can down the road, and now the problem's bigger, and eventually we're going to have to deal with it, and it's going to be much worse than if we would have fixed it in 2008. And I'll never forget the day that Lehman Brothers went belly up, September 15th, 2008. I was in the investment business, and I had clients. I never thought I'd do this because it looked like the whole thing was about to go totally pear-shaped. The economy was going to collapse. And I'm calling clients and saying, remember those safe money markets that we're in? Well, we got to get out of them. We've got to get into a government money market. This was ridiculous because people took the position somehow in their minds, character doesn't matter. We almost totally tanked the economy. So 2008, the oldest boomer is 62, the youngest in their late 40s. The boomers have been in charge. Their influence is felt for many years now. So the boomers, this is their moment, like their forefathers, D-Day in 1944, many of whom never lived, never came back from D-Day. Well, so the boomers, this is their moment. They look the problem in the eye. Oh, brother, whatever. Party on, dude. And that's exactly what we've done over the last 15 years. One thing that really irks me beyond belief, I'll see these commercials either in print or on television for boomer products, consumer products. Maybe it's a cruise or or maybe it's some insurance company or what have you, and there's always a picture of boomers having a wonderful time, carving up the turkey, and it's not that I'm against spending great time with families and having a good time on a cruise. That's not the point. But a lot of this money for retired boomers is coming from the government in pension plans and stuff. And who's paying for that? Our children and grandchildren. And we just keep partying on, dude. It's like we had a big picnic. We had a picnic in the park, and we had all kinds of, we were gorging on food. And we walked away, just left a mess. So there's hot dog wrappers, and there's pizza boxes. Oh, there's a couple of pieces in crust in a box here and there. And there's soda cans all over, and beer bottles. And we walked away and we didn't pick it up. And we're leaving it to our kids, the Gen Xers and the millennials, to pick it up. I'm just appalled by all of this. And this is the boomers. I apologize. I am so sorry. It reminds me of Lord Cromwell. If you know your British history, here's a guy in the 17th century. He's talking to the Rump Parliament, and I don't remember this off the top of my head, so forgive me, I'm going to read it. But the money quote of Lord Cromwell is this: "It is high time for me to put an end to your sitting in this place, which you have dishonored by your contempt of all virtue and defiled by your practice of every vice. Go, get out, make haste, in the name of God, go." I think Lord Cromwell was onto something, although it was 300 years ago. This is the boomers. You got to exit stage left. You are way past your time. I don't care if you're a leader in politics or if you're a leader in business, whatever it is, you have moobarred it big time. Time to pass the baton to the Xers and the millennials. They probably can't screw it up worse than we have. I'm Bob Henderson. I'm the Nomad Dad, apologizing for my generation. Maybe I've come a bit unhinged today. Check me next time.